Hi. At the beginning of this series on the book of 1 Peter, I want to first look at Peter as an individual. He identifies himself in chapter 1 verse 1 as being Peter the apostle, or Peter an apostle of Jesus Christ. Peter is a man who is a fisherman by trade, he's married, he's a hard-working guy. However, Peter is also the guy that seems to engage his mouth before he engages his brain in many circumstances. He was kind of seen as, in the early part of the New Testament, he's seen as a bumbling, foolish kind of guy who just does things that most other people wouldn't even consider doing. However, this book of 1 Peter is really, when you look at it, a story of transformation, a story of change, a man who's been transformed from one position to another. Peter the disaster to Peter the apostle. And that I find is fantastic, because Peter is the epitome of a person or an individual who's come to realize that his past need not have a great bearing on his future, is not a determining factor of his future. And you see, this is what Jesus Christ does in our lives. He allows us and affords us the opportunity of going from a position of Peter the disaster to Peter the apostle. Now for Peter, you can change Vic, Dave, John, Jack, Jill, James. And apostle, you can change to put the word future in. So in this case, you could say Peter the disaster to Peter the apostle. Vic the disaster to Vic the whatever. You see, it's a picture of transformation. It's a picture of a future that is bright, a future that has possibilities, and recognizing that the past need have no bearing on the future. Peter is a guy who transformed from being a fisherman to a man who was called by Paul a pillar of the church. He allowed himself to be used to heal a guy who'd been crippled for 40 years. That's got to represent a total transformation in the way he was thinking, in the way he was viewing the world, the way he was viewing his future. He preached his first sermon on the day of Pentecost before all these people who were pointing fingers at him and his mates and saying they must be drunk. Peter preached a sermon in which so many thousands of people's lives were transformed. It's the same guy who denied Christ 3 times. I don't know him. I don't know this man Jesus. He denied Christ 3 times before Christ's crucifixion. Yet, it's the same man whom Jesus came to after Jesus' resurrection. Jesus said to him, Peter, 3 times he said to him, Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And today, I believe Jesus stands before each one of us and says, Vic, Dave, James, Jill, Jack, whatever your name may be, do you love me? I want to transform you from being Peter the disaster to being Peter the apostle. Vic, James, John, Jack, the disaster, to whatever your future is. And so as we start this study on the book of 1 Peter, I want you to recognize that Jesus sets you free from your past. There is nothing you can have done that he cannot set you free from. It's a simple prayer. God, forgive me. Come into my life. Transform me. Change me to be who you want me to be. And you can be set free today. Now, as we carry on in the study, you're going to see some interesting things develop as Peter The man who understood disaster, the man who understood failure like no other, understands redemption, understands transformation, understands freedom. And so this morning, or today, whenever you're watching this video, know that Christ sets you free. Free to be who you were created to be. My name's Vic Williams for In His Footsteps. Thanks for watching.